There you go. And so our meeting is being live streamed currently, and it looks like we're at 1 o'clock right now. And just as a bit of an introduction, this is, oh, hasn't quite started from John. 20-second delay, he says. So I'll let 20 seconds pass and then.
Pat's in the waiting room.
All right, I think 20 seconds has passed now. So welcome everyone. Congratulations on your appointments to the Conservation Authority Board, our Kawartha Conservation Authority Board of Directors. And so we don't have a chair or vice chair present in the meeting. So in my capacity as Secretary Treasurer for the organization, I'll just start off the meeting for everyone. And the first order of business will be to recognize our First Nations friends and also then to elect a chair and vice chair. We do have a acknowledgement that you'll see up on your screen, and just for everyone's benefit, we do have a two-part acknowledgement for First Nations, just recognizing their history on the land and how important they are to us. The part that you don't see on the screen is really related to something about First Nations culture that we like to share and provide perspective for everyone. And so the one that I'd like to talk about is the one dish, one spoon concept. And that originated with First Nations, with the Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee people. They made a treaty together based on a beautiful concept named the one spoon, one dish, one spoon concept. And the concept behind that was really to take only what you need and ensure that the dish is never empty by taking care of the land, water, and all living creatures. So you never ended up in a deficit, so to speak. So there's always sustainability over what you needed in the future. And as a conservation authority, it really does resonate with me. It's something that I look at as being important to ensure sustainable generations, good, clean, healthy air, water, land. And so in doing that, I often think about, how can I do the same, and just put forward that same question: how can we all ensure the same? And so with that, we have the very first order of business is the election of chair and vice chair. This is kind of first on the agenda, since we don't have a chair or vice chair that's currently sitting in the meeting. So we move this item up forward just to set it once and not twice in the meeting. You do have the agenda as well in front of you, so I'll just run through some of the highlights there. The position for chair and vice chair are elected from the board of directors annually, and there is a process for doing that, which I will describe. In the event of a ballot, and the vote, since we are electronic, would be electronic ballot. 2 scrutineers need to be appointed, and the ballots are destroyed following the election, if there is an election. The election of chair is followed by the election of vice chair, and the procedures for elections are as follows. Nominations are called for from the floor. Nominations require a nominator only. And when all nominations have been received and no other nominations put forward after 3 calls, a motion to close nominations is requested. The motion requires a mover and a seconder and is voted upon. You do have suggested resolutions in the board report. All nominations shall signify when asked if they will stand for the position. And when nominations are closed, each candidate is given the opportunity to address the membership in alphabetical ordering of their surnames. The election vote, as I mentioned, is an electronic vote. In the event of an electronic ballot, an anonymous survey link will be distributed to you via the private chat function in this program from John Chambers, and the results will be announced by the election chair. In the event of a tie vote, a second ballot will be taken And if that too is a tie, then a third vote is held. And if we still have a tie vote at that point in time, the election will be decided from the draw of a hat. The election chair will declare chair and vice chair following their election or acclamation. And then just as a bit of a reminder, there are new rules that are in effect that the province put into place fairly recently for the election of officers, and the election of officers is that chair or vice chair position. So we don't have to worry about one of those elements, which is the chair or vice chair can serve for only 2 terms in that position. And the other aspect is that the chair and vice chair has to rotate amongst the municipalities. So a vice chair or chair cannot be appointed from the same municipality that served previously in that position. I've included a little bit of a chart at the end of the board report to help you out with that. And the only time that we could have either of those scenarios occur is through explicit exception from that clause of the legislation by the minister himself. And then following the election of chair and vice chair, I'll step down, and the newly elected chair will assume chair person for the meeting. Any questions on that before we start?
Mark, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to do that because I have no controls now on my iPad, just to let you know. So
okay.
I don't know how I'm going to vote. So
yeah, okay.
Can we not just say it?
Well, the votes are meant to be anonymous, so
Okay.
So preferably not.
So could I email you then?
So Mark, she should be able to use a chat that's not to everyone, but just to you privately. So using the chat function, if she just
I don't have it. See, this is the problem.
You can't even do the chat function.
No, I don't. I've got this box. Sorry, I don't want to hold everything up. So I can't do that. I have no controls on my iPad.
So Pat, did you try and do you want to try and log out and then quickly log back in? That should remove the box if you want to do that quickly. It should only take a couple minutes.
While she does that, can I ask a question?
So John Chambers has come up, so I guess I can do that through John Chambers. So I can vote through John, I guess. Yes, I can see that, John. So that's good. Okay, so I can do that. All righty. I don't want to go off and on because I've been having technical problems all morning.
No worries.
Yeah, I think that that'll work well then. If you can see John's notes too. Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, Director Burns, sorry, you had a question?
Is there a way of like putting up our hands virtually here? I've seen that on YouTube or Zoom before, but I don't see it on this particular display. Just so we don't have to chime in over top of somebody else.
Yep, there is a feature for that. For the voting, it won't be it'll be applicable for the general votes, but not for the balloting. And there is a reactions tab. If you kind of move your mouse down, you should be able to see the box appear, and it'll be under reactions, and there is a thumbs up that is present there. Oh, there we go. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Great. Any other questions from any of the directors? No? Okay, great. So with that, I'll ask for the first resolution, which is resolved that I, Mark Marhusky, be appointed as elections chair. So if I could
move that.
Yeah, and so Pat Warren moving.
And I second it.
Yep. Director Rock, great. And all in favor? Right, catching the names. I think I see everyone here. Great, awesome, thank you. So the next point to work with is the call for motion that in the event of a vote by electronic ballot that John Chambers and Christy Virgo be appointed as scrutineers. John Chambers has the knowledge behind how the electronic voting works, so his nomination, his his ability to participate in that would be greatly appreciated, and Christy. So with that, the second resolution there resolved that in the event of a vote by electronic ballot, that John Chambers and Christy Virgo be appointed as scrutineers, and that all ballots be destroyed following the election. So a mover on that, if I can have one. Director Pettingill, and seconded by Director Richardson. All in favor? And looks pretty good. Awesome, thank you. So now we'll move into the elections of chair, and I'll ask for nominations for the chair position. Nominations require a nominator only, and when all nominations have been received and no further nominations put forward after 3 calls, a motion to close nominations will be requested. With that, I'll ask for nominations for chair.
Hi, it's Pat. I'll nominate Robert Rock.
Great, thank you, Director Warren. Any other nominations for chair? And with that, I'll just ask a second time, any nominations for chair? And a third time, nominations for chair. And with that, I'll ask that motion for nominations for the position of chair be closed. If I can have a mover for that. And Director Rock, and seconded by Director Warren. So congratulations on your nomination, Director Rock. I just want to confirm that you're willing to stand for the position.
I am indeed.
Yeah, great, awesome. And would you like to address the membership? It looks like you're acclaimed.
Well, thank you, everybody. I'm very excited to take on this role. I think, you know, there is a bit of a rocky road ahead, and I'm excited to be the chair during this maybe slightly tumultuous time, and look forward to the challenges and all of us as a group working together to find a new path as necessary as laws potentially continue to change.
Yeah, thank you. And look forward to working with you as well in your capacity as Chair Rock.
Thank you.
With that, we'll move on to elections for Vice Chair. And I'll do the same thing, elections for chair. I think we know the drill. So at the point, just ask for nominations. And Chair Rock, yes?
I would like to nominate Director Warren for Vice Chair.
Great, thank you. And I'll ask 3 times for nominations for Vice Chair. Any other nominations for Vice Chair? And a second time, nominations for Vice Chair. And a third time nomination for Vice Chair. Not seeing any, I'll ask that nominations for the position of Vice Chair be closed. If I can have a mover for that. I see Director Smeaton, and seconded by Director Richardson. And I'll just ask Director Warren, are you willing to stand for the position?
Yes, I am. Thank you very much.
Great, and congratulations again on your acclamation.
Thank you.
Would you like to address the membership?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to being vice chair, and as Director Chair Rock has said, we are in tumultuous times. So I'm hoping that it evolves differently going forward. So yes, I look forward to the challenge and working with everybody. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And congratulations again. I look forward to working with you as well, Vice Chair Warren. So with that, I'll gladly hand it over to our chair, Mr. Rock.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. I mean, obviously, I'm sure most of us would have preferred to be there in person, but given the weather, this is at least a better second choice than postponing the meeting. So thank you, everybody. And with that, I will begin working through the agenda. Does anyone have any questions prior to us starting to work through the agenda today? So can I ask for a motion to adopt the agenda? I see Director Warren and Director Franzen. Motion. Can I call the vote to adopt the agenda, please? All right, I think I see everyone voting positively on that. All right, thank you very much. Next thing, I would like to call on a declaration of pecuniary interest. Does anyone have any pecuniary interest on any of the items in the agenda today? Seeing none, okay, I will move on to item number 4. Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes, the last minutes that were included in here? And are there any questions, changes, or revisions that are required for the attached board meeting? All right, can I ask for an approval for accepting the minutes from last meeting? Director Pettengill, thank you. Seconder for that. Director Byrne, thank you. Can I have a vote on that, please? All right, that seems to be everyone. We are zipping along. Do we have any business arising out of the minutes? No, I think we've gone through. We don't have any deputations. Presentations. So we have the presentation 7.1, the 2022 year in review. So I will hand that over for the presentation.
Great. Thank you very much, Chair Rock. I'll provide a little bit of an introduction to the presentation, and there is a staff report that is attached to this as well. We do have a couple of videos that are combined into one video for the purposes of this meeting. But would be posted separately. And it was kind of interesting looking back on 2022. It was a very interesting year. It was hard to believe actually that we're just coming out of the pandemic. So we're starting to open up again. It seems like it's been a long time since that happened, as we work to kind of adapt our business processes and recognize some of the benefits that we had working in a more digital world, but still recognizing that in-person relationships are really important to connect with our communities. So it was a great year. We accomplished quite a bit over the last 12 months as we work to engage our communities with the intent of nurturing a common respect and appreciation of our natural environment and championing the watershed health within our watershed. We've accomplished this through a wide range of initiatives, from protecting people and property from natural hazards like floodplains, steep slopes, and unstable soils, to implementing objectives and actions identified in our lake management plans, monitoring water quality and managing forests, reviving shorelines, and promoting environmental education, engaging with our communities. We've progressed significantly to the goals identified in our strategic plan, which is a primary focus point for this organization. It has 3 pillars: protect and restore, engage and inspire, and innovate and enhance. We've accomplished a number of things throughout the strategy in order to further these objectives. Some of the highlights include our habitat compensation, 50 million tree program, tree seedling sales. All of those were great programs. We actually planted over 37,000 trees, and we do have a stewardship strategy that was approved in recent times, and it has a target of 21,000 trees planted per year. So we exceeded that extremely well. In terms of lake management plan implementation, we worked with farmers, shoreline residents, and landowners of all sectors to implement programs and projects that were important to them. We've been working on the Lake Dalrymple management plan, And we've been working towards making sure our data and information is accessible for everyone. And flood forecasting is one of those elements that we're keyed into. It happens every day. And although it was a relatively quiet year, we did issue some right during Christmas, actually, this year, a couple of days where water levels were getting high and near thresholds that we look at. In terms of engaging and inspiring, we worked with our community members across the watershed and tried to create experiences that would engage and inspire people. So we implemented a couple of new events that were extremely successful in the Illuminated Forest and the Fall Festival. We estimated that the Illuminated Forest brought in about 200 people a night, which ran for about a month or just over a month, and the Fall Festival, which ran for the course of a week and brought in about 800 people. And we brought back Ken Reid, Christmas at Ken Reid as well this year. And despite gale force winds and driving rain, we had 400 people show up to that event as well. In addition to other ways of engaging either youth or young adults or adults in the different programs that we brought forward. We always look at ways of trying to engage people that aren't typically in our sphere as well. And so we did implement a disc golf course as well for Ken Reid. And these all bring in different aspects of ways in which people can enjoy the environment in which they live in, and then we get to expose everyone as well to things that are environmentally minded that they might be interested in. And I should mention as well that a lot of these events that we held were actually supported by grants, which was even better. So we received a fairly large, I think it was a $100,000 grant from the RTO8, which is a tourism grant for the Illuminated Forest, Fall Festival, and Christmas at Ken Reid, and the disc golf course. We also look at ways in which we can partner with businesses as well. So we were fortunate to work with Wild Rock Outfitters to do some snowshoe hikes in our conservation areas with Fenland Falls Brewery, who work on a summer ale and promote an environmental ethic, the proceeds of which go towards our organization for stewardship work, and 7 and 46 shop as well, who have a Kawartha Lakes clothing line that the proceeds of which, a portion of the proceeds of which go to stewardship initiatives as well. In terms of innovating and enhancing, that's something that's really important for our organization, in order to not stand still and be able to adapt. And we did have a fairly significant technology focus this year with a couple of different aspects, online bids and tenders, which is a module within our website. We know a number of municipalities participate in the same. So this runs out our bids and tenders to a wider range of vendors than what we'd normally be able to. And we have an online parking app that was launched, as well as the development of a website module to facilitate our permit application process. So we made some additions to it the previous year, and this year what it did was automate some of our staff time so we can spend more time on permits than doing administrative work by integrating our IMS and website together. And the other aspect is it's in a beta testing stage right now, is so that applicants can see the status of their permits as their application moves through the process. We're also looking at asset management within the authority and trying to plan for assets in the future. Is something that we don't have a plan for, but is really important. And another highlight was that we had an environmental monitoring strategy, a 10-year strategy that was approved by our board. And so we're looking at making strides in that area as well. And looking at a survey, we didn't find a similar strategy that was out there amongst some of our partners. So we're pretty proud of that as well. And part of that is making our data accessible and making sure that we make improvement in our monitoring networks, given some of the climate changes that we're seeing. So with that, I'll just invite everyone to a viewing of our annual review, our annual videos highlighting the accomplishments that we've done. There's one video that is more focused on the work that we do, and the other is user-generated content, as it's called. It's really people using our conservation areas or experiencing different events that are of value to them. So we'll play that, and we did also provide our annual report, which is also attached to the agenda item. So with that, I'll let you enjoy the video. There you go. So hopefully everyone enjoyed that, and those will be posted on our website for everyone to enjoy as well. Thank you.
All right, that was fantastic. Thank you very much for that year in review. And let me call the motion, resolve that the presentation for the 2022 year in review and the 2022 year in review and strategic accomplishments report be received. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Director Rang and Director Byrne. Thank you very much. And can I call that vote? All right, and that is carried. So on to 7.2, Mark, years of service awards.
Yes, thank you, Chair Rock. We have a number of service awards to recognize some of the significant accomplishments of our staff and significant milestones in their professional careers with us. We have four staff that are being celebrated today, and I'll start with Christy Virgo. And when you see Christy, these what we do is we have a number of photos that have been taken in our watershed, and so this is we give everyone a choice of which photos they want, and then we frame it as a token of our appreciation. for the work that they've done. And so, as you see, Christy chose this dragonfly that's taken early in the morning with a whole bunch of dew on it. And just like to recognize Christy for her 5 years with us as a Director of Stewardship and Conservation Lands. So congratulations, Christy. Delighted to congratulate you on receiving this milestone with our organization. And technically, it's her second time with us. So I should mention that the first time she set up our stewardship programming, then she left. And in the process, she gained a whole bunch of skill sets in the positions that she held outside of our organization. And then we're very lucky to have her come back with us. So she brought all those skill sets with her, which I know I've been leaning on a fair bit, and really appreciate all that she's done in leading our stewardship and conservation lands department. I should also say I consider myself to be very lucky to know and work with Christy. Anyone knows her will know that she's a force of nature, and her unwavering passion for the works that she does is really unparalleled. And that's evidenced every day in her dedication, commitment, her resourcefulness, and hard work. She's contributed greatly to the success of our organization. Her willingness to go above and beyond, her positive attitude, her personal improvement goals, whether inside work or outside of work, and her ability to collaborate effectively with her colleagues and in our community has made her a really important part of our organization, setting a high standard for everyone. Her contributions are numerous and significant. It'd be hard to encapsulate them all, but basically if you see a stewardship project that we put into action or any of the work that we do in our conservation areas, a piece of Christy is attached to it. And she would rightly point out, it's really not just her, it's really the good work of her team that she supports. So once again, congratulations, Christy, on your 5 years of reservice.
Thank you, Mark.
Next up, we have Galen. And we'll just bring up Galen here for everyone. There he is. So this is Galen Yerricks. He's our floodplain GIS mapping technician, and he's been with us for 10 years. And it's hard to believe it's been 10 years, to be honest. He came on initially on a contract and did some great work. So we've kept him on, and he's a regular part of our team. And we're pleased to present him with the recognition award today. If you know Galen, you know that his dedication, loyalty, and hard work have been invaluable to our team. And he's made a significant contribution to our success, particularly, as you would guess from the title, from floodplain mapping projects, although his impacts have been seen really across the organization. Just seeing Galen kind of grow up almost with us, it's been a pleasure to see him grow within our organization in many ways. And he's always, he's very steadfast in a couple of things, and that's diligence, professionalism, positive attitude, and being a great team member. And I have to say that I really appreciate his diligence and attention to detail when it comes to taking care of some of the most expensive equipment that we have. So really appreciate that. He works with our what I call fancy GPS systems and our total station. He's always willing to help out as well, and he's a great example of what a team member does to make everyone successful. So thanks very much, Galen. I really appreciate the work you've done.
Thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate it.
Great, thank you. And next person I'd like to recognize is Robert Stavinga. He goes by Rob, and he's been with us for 15 years as a watershed resource technician. And I see Rob's in there. We'll just wait for his screen to pop up. In the meantime, I'll just, there we go, there's Rob. Oh, he chose a yellow-bellied sapsucker. So this is Rob Stavinga, and as you can guess, he's a birder. So no doubt that's why he picked the yellow-bellied sapsucker. We're very fortunate to have Rob Stavinga as our watershed technician and part of our team. One of the enduring qualities of Rob is that he's a wealth of knowledge in all areas, and so he contributes in a significant way to the work that we do. He's known as the master of all, so he's the person that people rely on in all of the departments to figure things out. He's our wetland specialist, our equipment specialist, hydrologist, ecologist, water quality specialist, bird guru, teacher by trade as well, and so much more. He works with our citizen scientists through our Kawartha Water Watch program, with our seniors climate action group, looking at weather monitoring, and leads multiple watershed report cards that we're working on. You'll see an iteration of that coming up in the next little while. He's right now organizing the flood forecasting program, and helps out a ton in the planning and development services work with looking at wetlands, and provides really practical solutions to all the work that he does. He's always first to lend a helping hand, and he's a great team member as well. He's always the one to throw out a trivia question, one to find a way to save money on budgets, which everyone appreciates, and he's formulated a group that goes out for a healthy hike at lunch and learn about birds. So he's got a following of about half the staff, I think, on most days. So congratulations, Rob, on 15 years.
Thank you very much, Mark. Thanks for the kind words, and thank you, members of the board. It's been a fun 15 years, so thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Rob. And we're lucky actually this year that our annual meeting is in February, because we had another years of service become active for 15 years again. And the gentleman I'd like to recognize is Brett Traguno. He's our aquatic biologist. And just wait for, there we go, there's Brett. And many of you might see that dragonfly in the back there, and Brett is an aquatic biologist, and dragonflies start in the water, so it's very fitting. Brett's been a huge part of the Integrated Watershed Management Department and the organization as our aquatic biologist, but don't let the title fool you. He's not just an aquatic biologist. He's another person that's extremely resourceful. He's always demonstrated a strong work ethic, resourcefulness, is a valued member of our team and amongst his colleagues as well. He brings knowledge and insights to the organization on a number of topics. And some of those include not only the aquatic monitoring, but he's our watershed plan expert. He's led all of the watershed plans pretty much that we have within the organization. Been instrumental in leading projects that implement the watershed plans. He's also a key member of the technical team that provides input to our planning and development applications. So they lean on him pretty heavily for that as well. And so he's got a sediment and erosion control inspector certificate, which is a very nice complement to his skill sets, and has been working with most recently with the construction industry and development industry on ways in which sediment erosion controls can help with water environments. He's always bringing new opportunities to the authority by partnering with academia on piloting innovative technologies. And we've highlighted a few of those in our annual report. So aquatic thrusters as part of a fairly large grant that's tied in with Trent Severn Waterway and another conservation authority, I believe it's South Nation. And importantly as well, the Carleton University out there, and I think it was about a $500,000 grant that was received, and that's really born out of our lake management plans. And one of Brett's ideas to test these aquatic thrusters that in the end, we're hoping Trent Severn Waterway will be able to fill in the science gap that prevents them really from endorsing that as a reliable option for landowners. But we see as a good way of kind of meshing between environmental sustainability and trying to achieve something that's valuable or important for landowners. He's also got Ontario benthic biomonitoring certificates. He's an electrofisher by trade, and being an electrofisher, that means that he has a very high potential for some danger, and it's very fitting that he's our co-chair for our health and safety committee. So who better than someone that has some of the most dangerous work that we do. So that's only scratching the surface again, but congratulations to you as well, Brett, on 15 years.
Thanks, Mark, for the kind words. Yeah, love working here. It's challenging, fun, interesting, and great people. So thanks again.
Thanks, Brett. Appreciate it. So those are just a few of the members that we have that really make our organization a success, and just like to thank them again for all their work, and they're pretty stellar individuals. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark, and I'm sure everyone on the board appreciates Christy's 5-year, Galen's 10, and Robin Brett's 15th years of service, and I hope for all of them these are many more years to come. So I'm sure all of us share the same sentiment of being very happy that we have such amazing and long-standing employees. So let it be resolved that the presentation for the service recognition awards be received. Can I have a mover and a seconder for that, please? Director Warren and Director Wright, and vote, please. Perfect. Thank you very much. So we're going to move on to 7.3, which is the planning and regulation services. I believe, Mark, you're going to start us off, and then we'll transition to Matt.
There you go. Sorry, I was on mute there. Yes, great. Thank you very much. I'd just like to introduce Matt Mantle. He's the Director of the Planning and Development Services. And if you remember back to our orientation, this is one area that we weren't able to cover off. So we've got a condensed version of the presentation available for you here. And Matt is going to present that for you.
Thank you, Mark. And thank you, board. I'm going to start off by trying to get this presentation going. So give me a second. Great. And then, sorry about this. Share screen. Alrighty, is everyone seeing it?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent, thank you. Alrighty, as Mark mentioned, I'm Matthew Mantle, the Director of Planning and Development Services here at Kawartha Conservation. And today I'm going to provide you with a brief overview of the department's role, focusing on who we are and what we do. Referencing the Kawartha Conservation Strategic Plan, we aim to act with integrity, ensure protection of people, property, infrastructure, and the watershed's protection. I'd like to introduce you to several functions of my department performs, and the individuals conducting these roles. Resource planning is conducted by Harmon Kaur. Risk management official and source protection is conducted by Jenna Stevens. The combined compliance and permitting roles conducted by Stephanie Vergotsky. Permit analysis is conducted by Massimo Narini, and floodplain mapping and GIS is conducted by Galen, who you saw earlier. Am I stuck in a loop? You guys seen this one before, right? Okay, sorry about that. The following map displays the region of the Kawartha Conservation and provides planning and development services. This area is shared with 6 municipal partners. Okay, Conservation Authority is delegated responsibility of contacting on behalf of the province of Ontario on planning matters related to natural hazards, section 3.1 of the provincial policy in 2014. Sorry about that. I don't know what is going on with my thing. It just keeps jumping around. I'll just read from this screen, I guess. There's an MOU between each of our municipal partners, and our staff provides advice, recommendations, and specific conditions developments. Revenue is generated through collection of fees, developers and property owners, and also through oh my goodness, tariffs. I can't think of the word right now. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Planning comments take direction from provincial policy, which I mentioned before, and the Planning Act. The highlighted changes being proposed actually during the Bill 23 are prohibiting our comments on natural heritage, focusing our planning comments on mandatory programs such as natural hazards, reduction of our offsets from 120 meters to 30 meters, and changes of our definition of pollution. As outlined in this slide, through the direction of the MNRF as of January 1st this year, conservation authorities are excluding from natural heritage components and development applications temporarily freezing the fees for services and focusing on natural hazard review. In concert with the City of Kawartha staff, our staff plays lead role in preparing up-to-date floodplain mapping for 10 priority flood-prone sub-watershed zones to assist with the planning of future growth development in these areas, and especially important planning for flood emergencies. To assist with the protection of municipal water drinking sources, our team has a risk management official that supports the City of Kawartha Lakes through an agreement. Important to distinguish between our core business functions. Planning sets the stage for development, whereas the regulations and permitting deals with on-the-ground implementation. In accordance with provincial standards, Kawartha Conservation has mapped the approximate extent of the regulated features and areas within our watershed. The level of accuracy of our mapping information varies and is constantly being updated on the ground information, which we share with our municipal partners on an annual basis. Here outlines the process of standard applications and timelines which we actively strive to meet. And this slide outlines the process of our streamlined applications and the timelines which we also actively strive to meet. Kawartha Conservation administers Section 28 Regulation of Conservation Authorities Act. The main objective of the regulations is to ensure public safety, protect property from damage caused by natural hazards, protect watershed health, and prevent damage to sensitive environmental areas such as wetlands, shorelines, and watercourses. Our general approach is to work with the applicants to get to a proposal which staff can support. Where staff cannot support an application, the application would have the right to a hearing before you as a hearing board. Conservation staff regularly monitors activities, follows up with public and municipal complaints regarding potential violations, obtaining regulatory compliance through compliance agreements or judicial methods. Function of our office acts as an environmental watchdog for the watershed, saving our member municipalities time and potential costs of hiring external consultants for court hearings and litigation regarding compliance and provincial legislation. Our compliance officer investigates approximately 100 complaints, 10 to 20 remediation agreements on an annual basis. Department is involved in a vast range of compliance across the compliance spectrum. As you can see here, this is the compliance spectrum previously mentioned. The compliance methodologies can vary from information sessions to inspections to remediation and so on. Some of our challenges we faced in the past year or so included staff turnover, educating public on compliance, and patience of applicants respecting the permitting timeline. We are always aiming to improve here, and some items are that we conducted to improve our services to our partners in the community are weekly pre-consult meetings, streamlined permits, electronic application submissions, conservation and client service and streamlining initiatives, and so on. We aim for 2023. Our aims for 2023 include filling the water resource engineering position, which we've recently closed and have interviewed for, but have not made a formal decision yet. Continue to improve our IMS system, continue to build relationship with municipal staff, electronic application submissions, and permit issuance. Any questions? Sorry for the condensed version. I was rushing through it.
Okay, do any of the directors have any questions for Matthew? Okay, seeing none.
Sorry. I guess, sorry.
I'm sorry, the presentation's still up, so I can't see that. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Director Pettengill.
Stop it.
Yes, thank you very much. And to the director, you spoke briefly of relationships with municipal staff. Could you just expand on that a little bit, please? Sort of
Yes.
what it's like now, what you'd like, because I think going forward, especially with some of the changes, this is really important. Thank you.
Yes. Well, the aim that I've been trying to achieve with my group is to open communication lines a little bit more with the staff to, if there's like, it usually comes down to projects. If there's a more touch and go or politically sensitive project, we'd like to communicate with them, understand where their goals are, see if they align with ours and things like that, instead of just getting, sending our comments and just seeing if they agree with it or not, or things like that. It's more of just opening communication lines.
So does that mean that within a certain development or proposal, you would actually mention to the municipality that you're very happy to have a chat, or let's have
Yes.
a chat? Like, okay.
Yeah, we would reach out, things like that, or they would vice versa as well, because they're getting to know who we are, and like we have all new staff as well. So a lot of connections were kind of not severed, but they were more confined, I would say, because of the lack of staff being from previous years.
Right. Okay. I really like your idea. I think it's a very positive and worthy way to go forward. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Does anyone have any questions? Director Warren, please.
Yeah, thank you. Through you. Question. Going forward with Bill 23, I guess there'll be a lot of conversation with municipal staff, because I guess issues that are already in the works will go forward, but it's really unclear how everything is going to fall out. So this is really important that planning and the CAO work closely with municipal staff at this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Director.
And I do see, Mr. Chair, Director Richardson has her hand up as well.
Was just going to answer. Thank you. Thanks, Mark. Director Richardson, you have a question.
Yes, thank you, and through you. You did mention in one of your slides that the Ministry of Natural Resources is, taking the the information in from Bill 23. Did they give you some type of a timeline that they're trying to give some information to you? Not at all.
No. The previous releases were of updates were done during, well, you're aware, I'm sure all of you are aware, during the holidays and things like that. So, and then there was a Conservation Ontario, I believe, reached out to see if there would be guidance, and so far there has been no guidance provided.
Okay, thank you. I'm just
And,
curious.
yeah, and the only thing that just further to Matt's comments on it through you, Mr. Chair, is that we understand through the network, my network, is that there will be a regulation drop, usually probably in the spring, probably not that long from now. So probably in March is likely, or at the latest probably April, where there will be some furthering of some of the, I guess you can say, promises that the province has outlined. So some of those would include our regulations, some of the changes there, in addition to other things that might impact on municipalities as well.
Thank you, Mark.
Anyone have any other questions? Okay, seeing none. Well, thank you very much for the presentation, Matthew. I think it was very thorough, and even though it was condensed, it was a lot of great information for us. I trust that you'll come back and continue to give us more information beyond the condensed version. So I just want to move this motion forward and result that the presentation for the Planning and Development Services be received. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Director Pettengill, Director Byrne, and can I get a vote on that, please? Perfect. Thank you very much. We're going to move on to staff reports. And this is 8.1, permits issued by designated staff. And Matt and Mark are going to lead us in this conversation. So I will pass that over.
And I'll just start out in terms of just the contextual, and Matt will take it away from there. So what we like to do is report to the board every time there is a board meeting on our permitting status. So you would have heard Matt reference some of the staff new staff complement that we have, and so we're just working with that. When you have new staff complement, of course, people are covering for other things, and one of those aspects was our regulations officer moved on to one of our neighbors. So that increased some compliance work that our permitter was trying to fill, and of course those are fairly time sensitive as well. So anyways, in the end, we do have some what I would call not as stellar as we'd like results in some of those timelines, but we were trying to actively manage those files, and that explains the 0% that you see in terms of confirming complete applications for the 1 month there. So we're, I mean, the good news is we're in a upward trajectory, and we look forward to resolving that within the next month. So it'll take a little bit to get to where we want to go. And as a bit of context, we did achieve 98.5% in previous years. So that's kind of the wheelhouse where we'd like to be.
Thank you, Mark. As Mark mentioned, you know what? Maybe I'll just present the page. There we go. As Mark mentioned, yeah, there was some staff turnover over the last 8 months, and as you can see, we're reporting from our previous board report, so that's the reason why there's so much information. We were, as Mark mentioned, we were achieving 98% back in July when we were full staff, and that was for the application review. So the application review we aim to issue within review comments that we've received, and if we are looking for any additional information during a 14-day period for standard application, and then we have 21 days once we are satisfied that the application is deemed complete, that we would then issue a permit. So that's where these numbers are relating to. For Streamline, it's a little bit different. For a minor application that's streamlined, it's 10 days for the review period and then 14 days to get out the permit if we are deeming the application complete. So there was a bit of a downward trajectory up until January, I would say, once we got our new staff member for Stephanie, who was just being trained throughout January. And then February, she's started contributing quite dramatically and is helping our team swing it around, and we're getting back on track quite rapidly, I'm seeing. So the zero that you're going to see in for November for application review is we changed our focus to get out applications with the limited staff that we had, and then as you can see, we're starting to trickle back up, and I'm hoping that our February numbers reflect exactly what I feel like we're experiencing day to day for what we're doing internally. So that's about it. And I would like to turn it over to questions if any of you have any.
All right. Just if we want to drop the presentation mode so I can see everyone.
Yep, of course.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Oops. There. Is it back?
Not yet. I do see a few hands up. So while we figure that out, I see Director Warren's hand up. So Director Warren, if you had a question.
I forgot to bring it down.
Oh, no worries.
Thank you.
Director Byrne, I also see your hand up. Is that a question or is the hand left up?
No, it was a question, but I don't know quite how to, if you could scroll down. Oh, Matthew, that
you want me to go back up?
Please. If you scroll down, there was another term when I was going through the notes preparing for today, something about redirected or something. I don't have it in front of me because I'm using the computer for the Zoom.
Is this better?
I don't, all I see is you.
Oh my goodness.
That page there, when you scroll down, there was another, I thought it was in this section, something about redirected or something that confused me. Maybe I'm in. Okay. Shifted, primary shift, and yeah, there's some priority shifted permit. What are we referring to there?
So our priority was to focus on getting the applications or permits out instead of dealing with the application receiving at that point, because we had a backlog of projects that we were falling behind and timelines were increasing. So we shifted our priority to get the permits that were outstanding out, and then so I'm sorry, I'm going to go back up to the page that can show the more relevant information. So as you can see, we try to keep we kept our permit issuance above 70%, but our application review dropped, and that's what we're saying our focus went from reviewing this portion to just getting the permits out with the staff limitations that we had at the moment.
Thank you. Just when I was reading through it a couple of days ago, it just kind of made me wonder. So thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. So I will ask if there are any other questions. No other questions? Oh, Director Smeaton.
I had a constituent ask a question, and I just privately, Mark and I just dialogued a bit. I wanted to make sure that this was the right time. It seemed like it when I read the agenda, and he thought it might be a good question to share. And they were wondering if the Conservation Authority generates revenue through permits by expanding designated conservation lines over land that was not previously designated conservation.
Not necessarily, unless it was active by the applicant themselves or the individual who decide to increase the wetland on their space. Then that would if it qualifies with our policies, it may extend the regulated area. Other than that, generally, no, we just aim to refine the map set, or that we get more data on water bodies or things like that, that just not redefine, they keep the same definitions. Our data and information just gets more clear, and the higher resolutions our maps will be.
So it's not an organizational practice, to create revenue at the expense of the private property owner.
No.
Okay, thank you.
No
And if you want, Mr. Chair, I can expand on that
Please
a
do.
little bit.
Yes, please do. Mark.
Yep, great, thank you. So we're governed by a principle that's set out in the minister's fee classes, is actually part of the correspondence items that you'll see. And there is a defined ability for conservation authorities to charge for services, especially when they're at the benefit of an individual landowner and not a benefit to the overarching watershed community. So that's the difference between a development or a permit. So that's development paying for development, which I'm sure you hear in your municipal circles. So that is benefiting one individual or a certain specific business, and those are eligible for charging for. And we are not able to exceed 100% of those elements, which refers back to a previous decision going back many years now that we try and achieve 100% cost recovery on those items. And so, as I say, that's all identified in that minister's fee class, which we're bound to. The instances where we might expand our boundaries, I'll call it, is as Matt said, where we get better information. So there's wetlands that are out on the landscape that may not be defined. And we find that through, you met Rob, so through some of his work, some of those go away and some of those stand, or sometimes the boundary just moves around a little bit. And that's all based on site conditions at that point. And the other instance that comes to mind is, and it was a pretty big issue for us, was a definition of a floodplain that we had not defined before. So our regulation as it stands is an approximation of where the natural hazards are. It's not a firm and hard floodplain. So it's where we anticipate it might be. And in Emily Creek, which is a big water course, is very flat. There tends to be water that moves a lot slower than in other water courses. And when we did the floodplain study on that one, we did find that the wetland, the floodplain expanded quite a bit over what our regulated area was. And so we did provide notice to all the landowners as part of our process in that, and then that got integrated into our regulation updates. So a couple examples where that might apply.
Thanks a lot.
That's excellent information. Thank you very much. Director Warren, you have a question?
I do. Mark, I guess for you to Mark. So is that later in the agenda when you're talking about some information from the ministry on user pay as a ability to charge directly to the landowner, or to, let's say, another municipality, such as doing work for Halliburton?
Yes, yeah, and that's exactly where it comes into play. Development services, so that hits planning applications and permits. It also addresses some of the events that we carry out, where there's an ability to recover costs from that standpoint. And other aspects of stewardship of the tree seedling program is another example.
So these are where we can make some extra money with all the changes going forward. That's great. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing no other questions, I'll call the motion that it be resolved that the following section 28 permits issued by staff be received, and that's new permits 2022-24 to 2022-426 and 2023-001 to 2023-2 021, and the permits revised of 2020-359 2022-092, 2022-132, 2022-231, 2022-232, 2022-308, 2022-406, and that the permitting performance report be received. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Director Byrne, and a seconder, please. Director Pettengill, and can I have a vote on that, please? That is carried. Thank you very much. All right, let's move on to staff report 8.2, which is the asset management plan. And John, you'll be leading us through that. So I'll turn that over to you.
Thank you, Chair Rock, and good afternoon to the board. I'd just like to say congratulations on your new election on the chair position. And Pat as well on vice chair. I think I just missed you last time, but welcome back to the board and looking forward to working with you. So I'll just provide a brief update on our asset management plan and the progress, some background and progress on that. So in alignment with our strategic plan, both past and present as this initiative started in 2021, we recognize the value in completing an asset management plan and implementing a supporting software for that plan. So we do have a significant investment in our assets, and a plan would be aid in continuing to meet service levels, reduce organizational risk, and reduce our overall costs into the future. An asset management plan would also allow for us to have a proactive approach to our assets versus a reactionary approach. So from background, back in early 2021, FCM, the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, had opened up a grant program called the Municipal Asset Management Program, in which they are inviting municipalities to create asset management plans. At this time, conservation authorities were also eligible when we explored this further. So we had brought forward a resolution to the board to endorse Kawartha Conservation moving forward and committing some funds to an asset management plan and applying for this grant. Now, this was in March 2021. There was a lot of interest in this grant. So it was around May 2nd, 2022, that I had heard back from FCM, and we received great news that we were successful in the grant application. So FCM will be applying up to $32,800 in expenditures at 80% coverage of eligible expenditures. So it's a fantastic grant opportunity for us to carry out an initiative we've always wanted to move forward with and continue and get this project going. So from there, kind of our current status, and from there, once we received the good word that the grant was successful, we had created an RFP. And one of the key things I wanted in this RFP was not only an asset management plan, something that you can create that'll help us plan to the future, but was a supporting software so that it's not just a plan that sits on the shelf and collects dust. It's something that we can actively monitor, implement, change, or reforecast, and work with the supporting software. So we have received 2 qualifying bids from organizations that were able to meet both the consultant piece on the asset management plan and provide a really robust software. Ultimately, it went through our selection committee, and we had awarded PSD citywide the project. So, and just a couple months ago, early December or so, we had reviewed the work plan with PSD citywide, signed off on associated project plans, work charters, and items like that, and began the project. So the FCM grant opportunity is concluding, and the program completely finishes by September 30th of this year. So we're on a tight timeline. So we are currently concurrently implementing our software implementation and creating an asset management plan. So usually these are done kind of in steps, but we're just to meet the deadlines and ensure the funding comes through. We're diligently working on these ones. So we started off with our software implementation, which has really involved looking at all of our data, our assets, pulling that all out, reviewing it for any data gap analysis, and we're currently working on uploading that into the new system that'll hold all of our assets. And we're also refining our data. So within this, we've had, CA Act changes. So we do have to go through all of our asset listing, identify, whether they fall into those category 1s, 2s, 3s, or enabling services. And also just further refining our asset listing. In the same breath, we're moving forward on our asset management plan. So we've had some really good workshops on life cycle and service levels with them, just to get a grasp of how we're currently managing our assets, what kind of service levels we do have, how do we prioritize, how do we plan, how far are we planning, are kind of the key items. So that being said, that's kind of an overview on this project, and some of the next steps would be, I'm anticipating by or at the September board meeting that we would bring forward a final proposed asset management plan for the board to endorse. And between now and then, I'll provide another update just as to, you know, how the project's coming along, are we hitting milestones, and any changes that kind of occur. So that's just a brief update on, you know, the history of our asset management plan. And then just out of scope of this project, but something for consideration is there's also an opportunity to complete, while we're going through this, building conditions assessment that's been discussed. So I'm just at the early phases of looking into what this exactly might provide us. So far, it just seems like a good opportunity to, as our buildings are a large component of our assets. And, you know, one was built, I think, in 1990, and we did an expansion about 10 years ago, just to, you know, encompass what kind of milestones and expenses we might incur in the next, you know, 5, 10, 20, 30 years for those, and include in our plan. But that would be for considered if at a future board report, if it seems something feasible. So that being said, thanks for listening on the update on the asset management plan.
Thank you very much, John. I see Director Pettengill already has her hand up, so I will ask her to ask the first question.
Yes, thank you very much. And through you, thanks for the report. I guess I have two questions. And the first is, I think you mentioned you go to some workshops, you know, on figuring this whole asset management out and so on. And I know it's very confusing for municipalities as well. Who delivers your training and your workshops for conservation authorities on asset management?
Through you, Mr. Chair. So these workshops we've been conducting have been through the asset management plan, through the consultant that we had hired in the RFP process. So there, I believe, is 4 workshops, and this is really, when I say workshops, it's really more information gathering and workshop kind of based. It's just for them to understand how we're managing our assets, kind of our service levels, what's our risk levels with our assets, how we kind of prioritize where we invest our funding. So that's kind of what those workshops have been. I know also Conservation Ontario as a whole does have some workshops as well outside of this that we do participate when the opportunity arises.
Oh, okay, that's great to hear. And then my second question is about natural assets, you know, the value, the monetary value of the wetlands and the rivers and the banks and the fields and the trees and so on. There was a presentation at FCM Sustainable Communities a few weeks ago. And I know some municipalities, and I was just wondering, do conservation authorities also aim to look at doing an asset management on those natural assets?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I am aware of this kind of component, and I know Mark and Chrissy might have some more specific information on this, but it's definitely been something of discussion, and I think it is important to understand what our natural assets are.
That's right, because the cost of replacing them and the cost of the function that they serve is going to be huge.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I can add to John's explanation.
Please do.
And Christy may be able to add some stuff as well. So we do have a report that identified the value of our natural assets, and it was actually a methodology very similar to Lake Simcoe's. We used some of their values as a comparative watershed, and then transferred. It's called a value transfer system to the numbers identified for wetlands, forests, and other natural assets in our watershed. So we did create a report for that. I think it was a couple years ago that we did that. So we do have that information. And I know Simcoe's taken it to the next level of incorporating that into their wetland compensation numbers. And so we have that information. We've used it more as an information element at this point. And we haven't got a compensation piece, but that would similarly be a backbone for identifying offset information.
Okay.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you. Interesting. I'd love to see it. What the report.
Any further questions, or was that all for you, Director Pettingill? Okay, Director Speaton.
Just real quick, through you, Mr. Chair, to Mark, is that different then than what was listed as land assets under the project scope?
Yes, this so land assets under this scope would be lands that we own, very specifically, and this is more the value of natural features in the entirety of the watershed.
Any other questions? All good. Okay. Any other questions by anyone? Okay, seeing none, I do have a quick question. Thank you very much for presentation, John. It was great. The one thing I do ask is, I know within our package there was also the presentation from Citywide that was included. I will leave it to, I guess, some internal conversation as to whether you believe that the board would benefit from Citywide actually presenting to us, to do a small version of the presentation, just so we understand more broadly. And if there are recorded versions of some of the other asset management sessions that you've gone on, some of the board members may find it of benefit to listen into any of those recorded sessions, just to get a broader sense of the asset management process, if this may be new to anyone. So those are the two things I'll ask for if you guys can evaluate internally, and see if the board would have benefit to either of those. And I do see that Director Warren has put up her hand, so I don't know if she wants to build off that.
Just a comment that I'm sure, like, the grant wasn't a whole lot of money, so I'm sure that, you know, they have 4 different areas, you know, that they've reported on, so maybe we could watch that, but I'm sure there would be an extra cost. That's what I'm wondering, if they were to come in and actually do a presentation just for the board. Just a comment.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. That would be out of scope on the project as it is, but certainly at the board's direction, we could arrange for them to come in for a presentation, or I could do a further update in the future. I'm flexible on that perspective, but we will have them come in at the end to do the final the presentation of the draft or the proposed asset management plan. So at that time, they will actually go through everything we have done to date, kind of, you know, the logistics of it, how their, you know, assumptions are come about, kind of the best practices. But if there's any information before that, let's certainly facilitate that.
Okay, no, that sounds great. Any other questions, observations on this part? Okay, seeing none, I have a motion resolve that the staff report on asset management plan be received. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? A mover, Director Rang, seconder, Director Byrne. And if I can get a vote on that, please. That is carried. Thank you very much, John. We'll move on to 8.3, the CAO report. Mark?
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just trying to align my screen here to the margins so I can see stuff. The CAO report is one that is created for every board meeting, just a little bit more in-depth information on a couple of items that we have accomplished over between board meetings. One of the aspects that we spent a fair bit of time on was Bill 23 that came out at the end of the year, received royal assent in fairly short order. And in between, there was a lot of trying to comment on the various ERO postings, Environmental Registry of Ontario postings. That's the registry that the province puts forward all of their comments or seeking consultation from the community on. So we did provide comments to the standing committee for Bill 23, and the standing committee really refines the biggest issues and then provides the opportunity for people to hear or to voice their concerns or support for various legislation. And so that was headed actually by our local MPP, Laurie Scott. And we did provide a written submission to that standing committee. as well as a couple of other letters to the Environmental Registry of Ontario, specific to a couple of their proposals. There's a lot of meetings that were had, various sectors between Matt and his complement of staff and the other CAs, and also my complement amongst the CAOs of other authorities, in order to try and really understand what the changes meant for everyone. And Conservation Ontario also held a listening session for the membership, and that largely consists of chairs and vice chairs of the various authorities. The other thing that was pretty dominant for this time frame, particular to corporate services, was the year end and startup of the year. So there's a lot of activities that have to occur within that time frame. So obviously on the finance, tying things up for the year, creating the new codes for the new year that everyone relies on, and then of course T4s and I have the short form in my mind, but I'm going to try and create the real version. It's the MFIP reports that have to go to the province for adherence of our work on that front. So there's a lot of things going on in the last quarter leading up to the first quarter of the year. Communications, we've included a number of charts there for you as well, just indicating the different platforms and kind of what they do for us and how we evaluate them. So we did have some top performers in terms of engagement, which is something that we want to see in our work, and they did vary a little bit depending on what platform we were using. So that's the kind of important message behind that. Some are more event focused and others are more content focused, I would call it, on more environmental information as opposed to things that people can enjoy. So all of those are important to the work that we do. And we did finish a what was called a harmful algae bloom education and awareness session with the Kawartha Haliburton Pine Ridge District Health Unit. That's the local health unit with us, and it was well received. We did get a lot of engagement on that information as well. Pretty important since we have a lot of lakes in our area, and it's always good to be aware of blue-green algae and some of the dangers of it being present in waterways. We did have a couple of new members join our team. We have Stephanie Vygotsky, which is our compliance and permitting officer. So she joins us from Toronto Region Conservation Authority and doing some work as well in the Ministry of Environment. So we're glad to have her on. And so she's relatively new, started this year. And Nathan Rajewski is our assistant watershed resource technician, assisting with a number of projects that we have underway for this year, contract position. Information technology has been an important part of what we do. So we have a gentleman on board who is excellent at what he does and analyzed all of our vulnerabilities. This is a fairly new position. So this is transferring some of our what was consultant costs internally now, and providing a lot of benefit because we have a person that actually cares about the technology. Not to say the external doesn't, but it's much more close to home, I would call it, and so we do see a lot of better implementation of our technology. So we did have a number of critical security issues that we had to address, or vulnerabilities. These were more critical ones, from 110 down to 11, which is quite significant. And in my initial term, we did get hacked by the Russians, as we run back to my very first day actually as CAO. So it's something that kind of hits home to me. I don't want to be in that situation again. So being able to make sure that our system is secure, and there's been a number of improvements to our information technology overall as a result of his efforts and John's as well, John Lucas. Planning and development, you heard the update from Matt, so I think you have a pretty good synopsis there, but I think one of the things I'll just highlight in that department is as a result of some of the discussions we've been having relative to MOUs and apportionment agreements, the Municipality of Trent Lakes indicated that floodplain mapping is of pretty significant interest to them. So we work with the municipality to put together a proposal, and in the end, the federal government, which is where the funding comes from, did approve a project for $273,000. So that's tremendous that we're able to work with the township and be able to move forward with that initiative. Stewardship has been very busy as well, tying up some grants and working on new grants as we move into the new year. So we've completed our environmental damages fund. That was $75,000, resulting in 10 different projects for completion, and those are highlighted in our annual report. A number of shoreline naturalization, culvert improvements, and bank stabilization in primarily urban environments around Lindsay. An interesting project that we have initiated as well, this is one that we've been trying to get going for a little while, is working with the development community, trying to look at design alternatives as they sell homes. So there's a group in Bobcaygeon, the Iris Grove Development, that is going to host LID, which is low impact development options for landowners, rainfall gardens, for instance, in order to beautify their properties, but also help manage runoff from the land, and that benefits flood protection in the end. So pretty exciting on that front. And forestry is one of those areas that has been really booming in our watershed, especially with the $50 million tree program, but also in a general sense, our tree seedling sales have been working very well for us. And we do have the tree seedling sale going on right now, which is well subscribed. We had 75% at the time of the writing of the report, and no doubt it's a bit higher now. So that's pretty exciting as well. And we have some assisted migration, which is we recognize that things are getting warmer. So there's new species that are now tolerant of our climate. So we're providing a few species to assist with that, so they have a head start before things get warmer, even more warmer in the future. And we do have a implementation action plan as well with the City of Kawartha Lakes. So we're looking at the 5 years that the plan was established for is up for renewal. So this is the last year of that. So we're looking forward to updating the plan and then being able to present that to council for another 5 years of support. I look forward to bringing that forward to this board in May to achieve that. And then there, as I mentioned, there's a lot of work going on in conservation areas on the event front. Some new partnerships with the Kawartha Lakes Food Source that provides the illuminated forest in a location right close to the building, right close to the dog park actually. And Ward's lawyers have supported or sponsored the forest therapy walks. So this is kind of an interesting initiative where the forest therapy walks are supporting our links from environment to health for individuals. So there's proven links between mental health and being in the environment. And this is a guided tour of that. So Christy is a guided forest therapy hike leader, something along those lines. She does forest therapy. And so this is one that's well received. The donations actually we put forward to the Canadian Mental Health Association, the local chapter here in Lindsay. And with that, I think we've already mentioned the other some of the other events that we've had that were pretty successful. And so I'll just transition over to integrated watershed management, some of their activities, and a lot of the work going on the last quarter and up to this point in time has been finalizing reports so that we're able to put that out to our communities and get the information out there. We started our winter flood forecasting snow surveys. So by determining how much snow is on the landscape, we can kind of help forecast how much snow is going to turn into water and then run into the waterways in the spring. or whenever there's a runoff event. So Christmas was one of those cases where we did have a runoff event. The snow surveys help with understanding how much water is running into those waterways. And now we have this next dumping of snow. So we'll be able to figure out how much is going to melt into our waterways in the next run. And we did have some vandalism as well on a couple of our stations. So, we've had a couple more interesting ones this time. Solar panels we get stolen fairly frequently, but we did have one of our PGMN stations that had I would call a complete overhaul on the internals, where everything was ripped out and actually taken. So that's resulting in a bit of extra work for us. And with that, I think what I will do is just highlight one other aspect, which is the Lake Scugog Enhancement Project. It's a pretty big project with us with the Township of Scugog. And we've been working hard to get this project underway. And a lot of that's on the permitting front right now. So this is a project where it's going to have tremendous community benefits by increasing the water depths in the area, and also helping out with the runoff that's coming off the urban areas of Port Perry. Currently, most of that is uncontrolled. So that means that whatever's happening on the landscape goes right into the storm sewer network and then right into the lake. So without any treatment in between. And so that's pretty damaging for water quality, and also not great for flood protection. So this aims at helping out with that by improving water quality and providing a bit of an environmental solution to making sure that there's some wetland filtering of the water before it goes into the lake, and a bit of a social component as well. So the one of the concerns early on in the project was a loss of opportunities for the municipality. Dragon boat racing, and certainly I'm close to Port Perry, so go down to the waterfront and hear some of the talk, and one of the things that everyone's concerned about is the lake itself and how it looks, and being able to enjoy the lake, and this project really fits in with those objectives. So we've been working on a number of fronts, but basically there's a lot of work to do on the permitting front to satisfy the permitting agencies, and we're pretty close to resolving those. So with that, Mr. Chair, that concludes my CAO update, and willing to take any questions you might have.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And I will turn that over the floor to, does anyone have any questions for Mark on the CAO report?
I do.
Director Warren.
Yeah, thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. That's exciting about the low impact development in Bob Cajun. Can you tell me how that came to fruition? And because that needs to be expanded throughout the whole region. I'm trying to get green building standards going, and with Bill 23, that's making it a little bit more difficult. But this definitely, besides just being a demonstration site, I think we should be moving forward with low impact development everywhere. So I just want a little bit more information if you could.
And what I'll do is I don't want to take the shine away from Christy. This is her baby. So I'm going to turn it right over to her to explain a little bit more about this.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. So yes, the project was actually instigated by the developer. So he had quite a bit of interaction with the Toronto Region Conservation Authority in the past. And when he purchased this property to develop it, he immediately reached out to us to say, what kinds of projects do you have on the go? He was looking to do a type of wetland restoration project around the stormwater retention pond, and asked us to come out and provide comment on that and some suggestions with regards to, from the stewardship aspect, not from the planning aspect, but from the stewardship aspect. And at that point in time, we approached him because it has been something, Pat, you'll remember from the first iteration of the implementation action plan, it was one of those things we really wanted to get going. And with COVID and everything else, having those conversations with the development industry was kind of difficult. So once we got our foot in the door, of course, our stewardship individual, Danielle, she brought forward the project to him and made the recommendations and the suggestions. And he adopted it immediately after hearing it. He said, yeah, let's do this. And so we worked with a professional landscape designer who brought forward 2 different landscape designs for rain gardens for the different houses that they were building. And the developer is going to implement those templates. He's going to implement them as part of their sort of model homes when they build their model homes. And I think they're starting this fall. When they start to do that, they're going to implement those as part of that. And then new landowners, when they come in to look at the model homes, will be given the option of adding these LID features as part of the development of their home. So it will be installed in their yards from day one, and they don't have to do that kind of landscaping for them. So
that's great. So we really need to get that communications out when that happens, so other developers take that up. And well done. That's great.
Thank you.
And Mark, if I could just ask one more question about I remember going down to Port Perry and seeing an initiative that was done years ago. So is this just adding on to what was done many years ago by the shoreline?
Yes, so there's been a lot of shoreline works that have occurred across that area, and we did put in with the township a bioswale as well that runs along Birdseye Park, I think it's called. So the one right by the library. And so this is complementing some of those actions. And what it involves is dredging the lake and then putting it behind a berm that's going to be a walking trail. And then the dredgeate will go into that area and kind of fill it up. So it'll become a wetland area in that behind the berm that's more, I guess, adjacent to the shoreline. There'll be some fishing platforms on there because we know that there's a fair bit of fishing pressure as well. So we're trying to address some social issues that we see, and so the current fishing platforms, there's none existing along the shoreline, so people make their way through that naturalized area in order to find something, and then a lot of activity also occurs right on the highway that goes across Highway 7A. So that's a really busy area and introduces a bit of a safety concern. So by having some of these platforms on there, it kind of solves a bit of an environmental issue with the water quality. And that would be in the area of, I don't know if you know where it is, but the Big Wadding Pond. It was a bit of an experimental area, but realistically, in order to be effective, it would have to be cleaned out every year, which it isn't. So this, what it does is expands that area quite significantly and provides some better treatment over that watershed that's coming in. Fixes a couple of other issues with pipes going directly into the lake with some oil grit separators. And then what is dredging of an area that's pretty common to areas where people use, and being able to address that issue as well. So that means dragon boat racing, is something that continue, and boating in that area as well.
Okay, thank you. Those are my questions.
So if I can add on to that, because obviously that's happening in our area. One thing that we're very excited about is the oil grit separators for sure. And I know that we're going through the process right now of review of the entire plan. So it's something that is exciting, and we continue to look at that. But definitely, from an oil grit separator perspective, we're really anxious to get the work on that going to ensure that there is a better quality of water that is going into the lake than is currently happening right now. So having the 2 oil grit separators are extremely important from our perspective for sure. So any other questions that anyone has of the CAO report? Okay, seeing none, I will push the motion forward that it's a result that the CAO monthly report for meeting number 1 of 2023 be received. Can I get a mover and seconder for that, please? I see Director Franzen, Director Rang, and a vote, please. Okay, and that is passed. So we're going to move on to item 8.4, which is correspondence. Mark, I'll turn that over to you for correspondence.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chair. This represents the correspondence that we've received that pertain to a variety of kind of interest at the board level. A lot of these actually refer back to Bill 23 and some of the work that was going on either from the province themselves or from some of the partners that we work with that we were circulated on. And then there's a few appointments as well that were official letters that we received from municipalities for your appointments. And certainly, if there's any questions on any of these, I'd be happy to answer them.
Director Richardson, please.
Thank you, and through you. Just one in particular is Mr. Clark's memo to you. I think it was on 110, just regarding about holding any increases in the fees with planning, development, and any penalties. What was the reaction from Conservation Ontario on that? Because I think the deadline's till the end of this year, is it not?
Yes, yeah. Yes, it was issued, and we didn't have a whole lot of time, but we kind of knew it was coming forward as well. So it was a significant discussion item leading up to that point in time. We knew it was a possibility. We didn't know that it was necessarily going to happen or whether it was going to be broad brushed or just a couple of CAs. It ended up being broad brushed across all CAs. So, but it was it was limited in terms of planning and regulation work that we do. It didn't cover off the other areas of our fee schedule. So what we had done internally as a point was look at our fee schedule in advance of this. In advance of the January 1st date, which we knew might be the possibility of this coming into effect, and revised our fee schedule to reflect some of the administrative changes, just to update it at least at that point, without a whole fulsome review, which we know we're a little bit behind on. So at least it reflects the administrative kind of increases over time. And that was supported by the board. I believe it was early December that it went into effect. And then our plans moving forward is just make sure we're ahead of the game internally for when the time frame lifts, that we're able to bring forward a fee schedule that's reflective of a full 100% cost recovery for planning and permitting activities.
Well, that's good. At least, like you said, it's on your radar, and you can put strategies in place to move forward when that time limit is lifted. So thanks for that, Mark. I was just kind of curious.
Yep. Thank you.
Any further questions, Director Richardson? No. Okay. Director Smeaton, please.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. I on page 120 there was a memo from the Director of the Environment or Minister of Environment, and I contacted Director Warren just because I'm new and just wanted her take on it. And I thought I'd ask. It refers to an amendment. It refers to a proposed amendment to the on-site and excess soil regulation. And I just wondered if you could comment further. Our conversation made me think that perhaps that would help some other new people that are new to the Conservation Authority, if that's okay.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. This was a memo, as Director Smeaton mentioned, from the province, MECP, and this is really reflecting an evolution of policy and regulations looking at large scale fill. So the origin of this was actually in the Township of Scugog, and I believe maybe over into Uxbridge a little bit too, where there's a site on Lake Ridge Road where a valley feature was basically filled in with large scale fill, and in Scugog it was the Green Bank Airport. And what that did is kind of raise the awareness of large scale fill and the ongoing pressures of development. So the issue there was really around the volume of fill and impacting on flooding for adjacent lands and the quality of fill as well. So there was contaminated fill from urban sites moving into the area, and there's all sorts of kind of fascinating stories that I could tell about the efforts to try and figure this out. But essentially what ended up happening was a couple of conferences to deal with the large scale fill and jurisdictional issues as well. And then and so the big issue was there were no rules or regulations around large scale fill and where it goes to any sort of adequate level. So in the time intervening, the province came out with a bunch of rules and regulations on large scale fill and how to handle it. And this represents one of those evolutions. In this case, it looks like something that's reasonable is trying to look at low risk sites where you wouldn't expect for any soil contamination to be, and providing some exemptions for that. So it's an evolution in their understanding of how to manage the fill. So that's primary part, and then there's a storage amendment as well for 10,000 cubic meters. That's pretty hard for me to put in perspective a lot of times, but it's a significant volume. But I think what the ministry is seeing is that there are some abilities for storage amendments for that scale of fill.
Excellent. Director Smeaton, any follow-up to that?
No, that's fine. Thanks. I see some other hands that'll probably further the conversation where I'm going with a little more experience. Thanks.
All right, perfect. Director Warren, you had a follow-up question?
Yeah, just a comment. I think this could be, well, okay. So there's a farm near Fenland Falls that I'm sure the CAO knew about years ago that put nitrosorb on their field, and which is a waste from the recycling of paper products from Atlantic Papers. So I mean, you can say that it's not an issue, but I think that they say here that they're going to do away with implementation of tracking systems. This exemption would not apply if the excess soil is excavated from a project, blah, 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 blah. I think, if you can't go back and see what kind of things were put on farms and other institutional areas that could be previous brownfields, I think that's a bit of an issue. So I just wanted to voice that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions on the correspondence? Okay, I don't see anything, so I'm going to move that we resolve that the attached correspondence be received. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Director Richardson, a seconder, Director Smeaton, thank you. And can I get a vote on that, please? All right, we are carried. We're going to move on to section 9, which are the action items. First one is 9.1, the administrative resolutions for 2023. And I'll turn that over to Mark and John to lead us through that.
Right. So I'll start out on this report, and if there's any follow-up questions, I'm sure John can answer them in addition to myself. What these resolutions do is they really set the basis for the year in terms of some of the services that we work with. Royal Bank is the banker that we currently use. And we find that their service level is excellent. They have an online banking system that really facilitates a lot of work that we do. And quite frankly, switching banks is a big process as well. So we're happy with not only their level of service, but also recognize that to change service providers would be significant on our end to accomplish. There is a borrowing resolution that's associated with our administrative regulations. As well, so that's presented there in the second resolution, and there's appropriate signing authorities and officers kind of tied in with that borrowing resolution, and those are identified in our administrative bylaws. The third resolution is really looking at our lawyers for the year. So we currently employ Hicks Morley Hamilton Stewart Story for human resource matters, Gardner Lee and Due Process Legal Services for regulation matters. And the difference there is that Gardner Lee is the I would call hired guns, I guess you can say. They're the ones that really are able to pursue things at a legal level. And Due Process Legal Services enables us to work on other solutions and tackle some of the court proceedings if we need it without needing those the big heavy guns, so to speak. So it works well from a financing standpoint. The other lawyer that we have is Warner and Cork, barristers and solicitors for other items that we may deal with, and they tend to be associated with land matters that we might have. The fourth resolution is the audit firm. So we have provided a little bit more information on the audit firm for you in this report. So we've gone through a competitive tender and bid process and identified a preferred vendor for this. We provide that information for you as well. And so we're suggesting that BDO be the appropriate auditors for this area. We got a great deal from our previous auditors on the work that they were doing on our audits, but they've indicated that they won't be able to provide audits for us anymore. They're a small firm, and we're kind of outgrowing them at the same time. So there is an associated increase in the cost of the auditor as a result. Anyways, present that for you in terms of the administrative resolutions.
Okay, thank you very much, Mark. Does anybody have any questions on the action items for this year that's been laid out? There are 4 resolutions, as Mark has walked us through those, quite long. So I just want to make sure that everybody has read through the wording on all of those, and if there are any questions. Okay, seeing none, can I call a mover and a seconder for the 4 resolutions associated with the administrative resolution? Director Pettengill, can I get a seconder for that, please? Seconded by Director Byrne, and a vote on the administrative resolutions. All right, that has been carried. Thank you very much, Mark. We're moving on to 9.2, the 2023 budget. Mark and John will be leading us through that.
Great, and I'll just really briefly introduce this, and then let John run through the remainder of the report. He's the gentleman that's really responsible for the budget and the creation of it, so has all the details that you'll need. We did go to the board in July of 2022 and received the guideline that we're currently developing the budget on. It's a 3.75% increase in municipal operating levy. And that's really based on some of the indicators that we're seeing: higher costs for services, higher costs for, as you see from the auditors, higher costs for a lot of expenses that we have, and also the market as well. So we've developed our budget based on that guidance, and given that you're a new board, we wanted to make sure that that guidance was still something that you were seeking before moving forward with a full kind of budget preparation, which I know John's already got a head start on, been working on, but just wanted to confirm that before we present the next stage to you, which is identified in the at the end of the report, a timeline for the budget process. So with that, I'll pass it on to John for some details.
Great, thank you, Mark. So as Mark was just briefly explaining some of the background there, so the board had provided budget guidelines in July of 2022 that you would use to develop our 2023 budget. We have attached a report to this agenda that just provides that report from July 2022 and some information. So just as Mark was suggesting, I'll provide a brief update or a brief overview of that. We were looking at a budget increase of 3.75% in dollar terms, $62,000 for our budget. This was just to meet our business needs. We had inflationary adjustments, a tough labor market, and just to ensure we can still support the strategic initiatives that are ongoing for the organization. Special projects at the time were recommended to increase no more than 2%, and general benefiting projects were recommended to implement the 10-year environmental monitoring strategy that was endorsed by the board, and our general benefiting project for website improvements, which Mark previously touched on, has fallen off the budget this year. As it was completed in 2022, and now we're just in I think a beta, maybe even alpha stage of that program. So with that being said, since July 2022, things have changed and there's been new information that's come about to supplement our 2023 budget development. So in this overview, I'm just going to provide a brief update to any changes from our original guidance to consider. So through governance and legislation, as we all know, Bill 23 has been a hot topic. That one went through, was originally introduced October 25th, I believe, and it had for the first reading, and it received royal assent by the end of November. So we had a really quick turnaround time on that. Now I'm just going to touch on purely how we've just on this on an operational and financial perspective. So some of the things we've looked at and consider, how they might or might not or don't impact our budget kind of lens. So just looking at one of the areas is we've have natural heritage and water related comments. So with this effective January 1st, this was one over the holidays where the province put out some further information on this, that we are unable to provide commenting services to our partners municipalities when it comes to natural heritage features and anything water related comments. We're not anticipating a budget impact on this particular area, as we are still working towards seeking full cost recovery on our planning and commenting services. Another item that's occurred in the changes is setback. So we currently regulate up to 120 meters from a wetland. Through these changes in Bill 23, they're looking at a 30-meter buffer zone. This hasn't been enacted into regulation yet. So we're currently just reviewing, trying to understand that 30 to 120 meter area that we no longer regulate, what kind of volume of permits really fall through there, if there'd be any notable impact on our operations. Another one we've had is the province has indicated that there is looking at a change or proposed definition change on water courses. The regulations with this one also haven't been released yet. As Mark said, we're expecting a regulation drop maybe March, April. But for this one, we are anticipating that there would be increased field visits. Now with the new definition, there's going to be increased field visits for staff to go out there and look at a water course that might have been previously defined and look at the new lens of how water courses definition may change. And one other one I just wanted to touch on was there is also regulatory exemptions that are anticipated to occur, and this will be for the planning, kind of impact the permitting process, where anything that's going through our planning process won't be subject to a permit per se. However, we'll still be reliant to ensure that there's compliance with development of the area. So this is kind of an interesting one that we're going to have to wrestle down, I know, operationally into the future, but looking at that, there may be a revenue impact on permits. Going through, looking at the special and general benefiting projects, there's been no notable changes since our original guidelines in July. And inflation, as we know, continued to trend upwards throughout the remainder of the year, as we were anticipating middle of last year, looking at around 6.8% last overall average in 2022. And this year we're starting to see deceleration, and Bank of Canada is anticipating by mid-year we might be seeing, towards a 3% target. But as we know, everything is uncertain with the economy right now. And there's good predictors, but we'll have to weather the storm and see how everything shapes up. So since the last meeting, we've also noted that we didn't have any municipal guidelines at the last board item. So since then, I think it was the day after that meeting, we received the city's correspondence on their budget targets. The city had set a budget target of 3% year over year for our budget. Now the city generally just provides an overall target for our budget and doesn't necessarily break it down between how we have operating, special benefiting, and general benefiting projects. So with that, we are currently on target, exactly on target with the city's request. And Mark and myself had gone to the city's special council meeting, I believe it was January 26th last month, and had done a draft presentation there. So we saw some of our board members. Looking at the region, we had supplied them with our draft budget figures as well in December. for their budget process. On February 1st, they had circulated their tax supported budget guidelines for agencies and partners. So for conservation authorities, they had issued a guideline of 2.5% for a municipal operating levy, and they had issued 1.5% for special benefiting projects. Now I'll just touch on the two of those. So as of right now, we are over guideline for the region on the operating levy by a percentage and a quarter. On a nominal dollar value, that's about $7,500 impact to the region's budget. But where we are, if we were looking at this, is if we lose the region's apportionment on this, that'll have an overall budget impact of $21,000. I have been I've been hosting meetings or conducting meetings with the region's director of budgets and planning there, and just working on some alternative or some solutions. One might be just that the budget is good the way it goes ahead, or there's also an opportunity where I just say a shifting of funds. So the region has their operating levy, they have special projects, and they also have special one-time funding. So it could be us looking at just pulling a project out from operating and shifting into a special one-time funding to continue and meet all of our objectives for the year. So I've been having those discussions, and I'll bring forward the budget next month to go along with those. And then Cavan and Trent Lakes, we had also supplied them with our budget figures in January. I think it was mid to or the 18th, 20th range. So generally they don't provide us with a guideline per se, but they'll request that we supply them with our numbers, and they'll move forward and bring that to their council. So I've had some discussions with Trent Lakes just to clarify a few items in the budget, and everything seems to be good in that sense. So additionally, since we've had the original budget targets, there's been some changes. As you know, Mark mentioned the auditors, our previous auditors have resigned. So there's been budget pressures for audit. As well, the insurance industry has been a challenging one, just with, inflation. All of our buildings, equipment, assets, etc., have become more expensive to replace. So just on an inflationary perspective, we're seeing inflation costs on insurance. And then there's also been, risk assessments and changes in that industry. And we're just looking, and there's been some coverage changes we're looking at, such as, as we mentioned, cybersecurity is really important. So we've been working on adding a cybersecurity policy just to protect the organization and reduce risk in the event that there's any incidences with that. And lastly, we had our contract has expired for our cleaning services at the office. So we went through the RFP process. Had really good, I think it was our first or second RFP we had completed through bids and tenders, but had a really great competition on that. I think we ended up getting I think it was 9 to 10 bids on that, which was great for us. So having access to that software and network was great. So we had signed a 3-year contract with new cleaners, which did secure our costs for 3 years. At least they are known now. We have known expenditures for 3 years, and the budget will reflect that. Just going over the timetable. I know Mark was briefly touching on that, but so today we're just bringing forward the guidelines and want to bring them forward to the board and see that, ensure that this is guidelines you'd like to move forward with. And at the next meeting, I'll bring forward a full draft of our budget, which will include the revenue and expenditure statement, along with all of our detailed program information, such as deliverables and actions will be commencing in 2023. Following next board meeting, so in April, we would bring back a second draft, pending if there's any adjustments we are recommended at the March board meeting. And at that time, we're anticipating receiving board support to circulate. So under the CE Act, we're required to circulate our budgets for 30 days to municipalities. So that 30-day requirement would then bring us into May for hopefully final approval of our 2023 budget. With that, thanks for allowing me to provide a brief overview there, and I'll just, if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you very much for the information, John. Dr. Warren?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. So, John, you said you're over natural heritage and whatever, you're still going to be able to get cost recovery. I'm not sure how that happens. I mean, the municipalities now will have to go to private environmental firms to do that. So I'm just not too sure how that is all going to work out. If you could address that. Thank you.
Sure. Through you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, it's quite unfortunate, as we did provide that as a value add service as kind of part of our planning process. When I say we continue to meet cost recovery for our planning services, so natural heritage is just a component of what we commented. It's also natural heritage as well. So we're not anticipating that our revenues will be changing, or sorry, our fees will be changing this year. As we, Mark said, we do need to complete like a full assessment of our planning and permitting fees, and we made a minor administration changes last year, primarily just to administration. But we're still seeking the full cost recovery for, our staffing, resources, etc. So I'm not sure if that helps.
We'll see how this all plays out. Okay, thank you.
And I can help out with some of the rationale on that as well, in addition to what John provided, and that is when we comment on a wetland, for instance, we have our wetland biologist. That's Rob that you saw earlier. He looks at it from a regulations perspective and also from a natural heritage perspective. So we still have to go out on site. So that is still covered off. So in terms of the cost to the landowner, it actually increases as a result of Bill 23. It doesn't decrease, and that would then reflect, the municipalities' need to hire a consultant or achieve the natural heritage comments. So we don't have any reduced work on that end. We still have to write the memo. We still have to verify the wetland and everything else. So so there's some good cost savings for municipalities on that end. The other aspect is we're pretty confident that we're not achieving 100% cost recovery at present, and through our inventory of programs and services across the board, we estimated the natural heritage component to be $26,000, just over $26,000, which isn't really a whole lot when you compare against the department costs. So that just means that we refocus into other areas, providing better service on the natural hazard front, which is a good thing to do.
Thank you.
Director Pettengill.
Yes, thank you. And through you, I'm not sure what the appropriate timing is on this, and I know it was mentioned during the orientation, but just regarding per diems for directors, I thought as part of governance, and I wasn't sure if budget time was the appropriate time to have this discussion.
Through you, Mr. Chair, it's a perfect time. So if you're, so I'll give a little bit of maybe history on this, just for everyone's benefit. So we initially did have per diems for board members, and then through discussions that was something that was removed, but the vehicle mileage was retained, and it was really geared towards a board desire to make sure that costs were reasonable for the taxpayer, and having the board take part in some of that was part of that. We also reduced a full-time staff position at that time, so that's a little bit of context for that.
I guess I wanted to bring forward a recommendation that a per diem is reinstalled. For many of us, we don't have any other income except our council income, which, as you know, is very modest and much lower than any staff position, certainly. But we do, prepare and work hard and put real time into these meetings. And I think it, it's significant both in actuality and also, it's a very modest recognition of it. And even if you looked at 150 per meeting and 9 meetings per year or 8 meetings per year, the whole it's only in the realm of up to $15,000. So out of a budget which is in the I'm not sure if it is about 20 million or the total budget where 9 million or something, but it's still a very modest amount. So I think that, and I know it's in the act, I guess my proposal is to restore it.
So if I can add on there, and maybe I know you haven't formally made the motion, but I'll ask the question of Mark. are you aware of the 20-something conservation authorities? How many of them do still have a per diem for board members, and how many of them have done away with them? Just from a context perspective, if we were to consider this.
Yeah, sure. I can comment on the current state, but not in terms of the evolution. So in terms of the current state, number of boards that have per diems is the vast majority. So there's only one or two that don't offer any per diems. We're one of those. So most do offer some sort of per diem for having board members do what they do, which is a lot of work. So,
and is there a fairly standard amount of a per diem between them?
It does vary amongst CAs. We had $60 per day in the past, and that dollar amount is something that if the board agrees, we could bring forward. I know one of the reasons why it was dropped was some municipalities have different ways of approaching the per diem. So, City of Kawartha Lakes, for instance, the entire sitting on the board is covered off in their I think it's one of their bylaws, or the rules that they're working with. So in the past, we used to have those per diems donated to the foundation by those members. And then I think most of the other municipalities, it was a straight per diem where it wasn't covered off by their kind of rules of engagement, I guess you can say, for committees.
Okay, so Director Pettengill, if you wanted to bring that forward, can I recommend a friendly amendment? Can I ask, if you wanted to bring a motion forward in that regard, can I ask that it would be a motion around directing staff to take a look at the current environment across the conservation authorities and make a recommendation on what would be an appropriate amount for a per diem based off of the current environment for that, and have them present that at the next meeting for everyone to consider. Are you amenable to that?
Sure. Yeah, I think that's fair. I took a little survey around myself, so I think that's a great idea.
And John, Mark, is that sound reasonable?
Yeah, I think that sounds reasonable for sure. I mean, there were 2 surveys that were conducted last year for exactly the same purpose across all CAs. So we could certainly either ask for that just to avoid everyone doing another survey on the same thing, or we could just do another survey, whichever is wished. And then be able to present it for sure.
Okay, so if you don't mind, what I'll do, Director Pettengill, is I can move that to section 10, a new business, if you want to bring that motion forward in directing staff, and we'll close off the motion that is on the table currently, which is around the budget. All right. So
I'll bring it up again under new business. All right.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, sorry, Director Warren.
No, I'll ask my question then. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm just going to bring the motion forward that it's resolved that staff report a draft budget considering a 3.75 municipal operation levy increase based on the current operating levels and economic climate for the meeting of March 24th, 2023. Can I get a motion for that, please? Director Warren, can I get a seconder? Director Pettengill, thank you very much. And can we have that vote, please? And that is carried. Thank you very much. So let's move on to 9.3, CA Act Transition Report and Inventory of Programs and Services. Mark?
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chair. This report is a bit of a catch-up report for some of the work that's gone on over the last couple of months, but also and that would be the progress report to the ministry, but also to update the programs, inventory of programs and services, and that was a direct result of Bill 23 and the not enabling us to comment for municipalities on natural heritage, so that was removed as an item within the updated inventory. We do have a couple other resolutions in there to circulate the updated inventory to our member municipalities, and this amendment was requested by the Region of Durham. as part of their process to look at the MOUs, the apportionment agreements moving forward. And of course the staff report itself to be received. So this really all stems out from some of the earlier changes to the Conservation Authorities Act and the requirement for transition plans and agreements. Just as a bit of background for anyone that might not be familiar with this, is the very first step that the province put in place was identifying what mandatory programs and services were, and from there developing a transition plan for moving forward. So we developed a transition plan identifying timeframes to move towards how we do business currently to the specific categorization of Category 1, 2, and 3 programs. Category 1 programs, this is important for the program service inventory, is Category 1 programs are those that the province wants us to do. And that would be things focused on natural heritage, natural heritage, not that one, natural hazards. So that would include flood forecasting, would include the Ontario Low Water Program, and includes all of our planning and permitting related to natural hazards. If there's a dam that's operated, it would be included as well, but we don't have any of those. Other thing that's hidden there is, of course, conservation lands, but very specifically conservation lands in terms of the ownership of it and passive recreation component, not active recreation component. So if we're doing guided hikes, for instance, that's something that that would not be mandatory, but repairing fences and making sure that there's a passive trail network that's included. The other one that's included is the monitoring that we do on behalf of the province. So they want that to carry on. That would be the provincial groundwater monitoring and water quality monitoring networks. The Category 2 programs are the things that municipalities want us to do. So those are generally identified in the special projects. And so special projects are ones like lake management plan implementation, for instance, or some of the stewardship work that we do. The Category 3 programs are those that are related to the other programs. So these are ones that are done on behalf of the watershed community as a whole, and generally shared amongst municipalities in terms of the cost. In the program and service inventory, if you work it out, there's less than 5% of our work actually goes into those Category 3 programs. And some of those are entirely self-sustaining. So those that receive municipal support are in the order of about 1.5% of our budget. So it's not a huge amount. But it is something that would require a cost apportioning agreement to carry on with. Examples of that would be the Illuminated Forest, Christmas at Kenreid, Fall Festival, things like that. So the next phase is that inventory of programs and services, and that's meant to help streamline then the apportionment agreements or other agreements that need to be struck with our municipalities. And as we move along in that process, the province, through the legislation, said there needs to be progress reports that are submitted to the province on a regular basis. And so this report covers off those aspects. It's the progress report to the ministry outlining how we're doing. We have outlined that Bill 23 is something that is going to potentially cause delays, and that is just a little bit of an early warning signal to the province. Indicating that if we can't meet the January 1st deadline for apportionment agreements and having our budget in line, that they know at an early stage that the reasons why that might be. In this case, it's their active kind of profiling of the industry as a whole that in the end affects what we can accomplish. And then the inventory is specific to that Bill 23. So you have the information there. One of the requirements is that we clearly outline the changes in the inventory, and so those are included on the last page and very explicitly. And how we've worked with those funds. The natural heritage component has been shifted over to a couple of components, and those all deal with natural hazards. So that concludes my my presentation of that report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Mark on that item? Okay, I don't see any questions. In here, the resolution has a number of items in that. Does everybody have that resolution in front of them? All right, I'll read that. Resolve that the January 1st, 2023 progress update report and circulation to the MECP and member municipalities in accordance with 0.reg 687/21 be ratified, and that the updated inventory of programs and services reflecting recent changes as a result of Bill 23 More Homes Built Faster Act of 2022 be adopted, and that the updated inventory of programs and services be circulated to member municipalities, and that the staff report on Phase 2 transition activities related to Conservation Authorities Act changes be received. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Thank you, Director Richardson. Seconder for that motion, please. Director Smeaton, thank you very much. Can I have a vote, please? All right, and that is carried. Fantastic. We're moving on to 9.4, Risk Management Official and Risk Management Inspector Designation. Matt, you'll be leading us through that.
Yes, thank you. As described in the document, we're requesting resolution on appointing Massimo Norini as a backup risk management official for the purposes of supporting the primary risk management official for enforcing Part 4 of the Clean Water Act. Massimo has successfully completed the risk management official training course held by the Ministry of Environment.
Has everyone had a chance to read the attachment on Massimo? And does anyone have any questions for Matt in regards to that? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring the motion forward. It's resolved that Massimo Narini be appointed as a risk management officer, risk management inspector for the purposes of enforcing the Clean Water Act, RSO 2006, Part 4, and the regulations pursuant to Part 4, and that a certificate of appointment be issued bearing the Chief Administrative Officer's signature. Can I have a mover and a seconder for that, please? Mover, Director Pettengill, a seconder, please. Director Byrne, thank you very much. And if we can get a vote, please. Perfect. That is passed. Now we're going to move on to 9.5, Provincial Offences Officer Appointment. Matt, you'll walk us through that again, please.
Yep. Similarly to Massimo, we are requesting resolution for appointing Stephanie Witzgowski as a provincial offense officer for the purposes of enforcing Conservation Authorities Act and the regulations pursuant to Section 28 and 29 and the Trespass of Property Act. Stephanie has also successfully completed the provincial offense officer training. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. And I know information was attached as well. That goes into a bit more of a depth. Does anybody have any questions on Stephanie? Seeing none, okay, I'm going to move that it be resolved that Stephanie Vygotsky be appointed as Provincial Offense Officer for the purpose of enforcing the Conservation Authority Act, RSO 1990, Chapter 27, and the regulations pursuant to Sections 28 and 29, and the Trespass of Property Act. Can I get a mover and a seconder for that, please? Director Warden, thank you. Director Richardson, thank you. And if we can vote on that, please. That is passed. Thank you very much. And we're moving on to 9.6, Board of Directors 2023 meeting dates. Mark, if you want to just walk us through the proposed meeting dates. Thank you.
Great. So the key thing here is just being able to set the agenda for or schedule meetings really for the rest of the year. So the proposed meeting schedule is put forward for you. If there's not enough business for any of these meetings, then I'll have discussions with our chair on canceling those items, but we like to reserve the date just in case there's business to move forward. And just wanting to confirm that those dates work for everyone. If not, there's an opportunity to to be able to work these dates out so it works out for the best of everyone. We generally find that these dates work best for everyone, just considering the range of council meetings or special committees that board members have had in the past. And I'll just highlight that the next 2 meetings would include a source protection meeting that helps to achieve some of the work that's required for the Clean Water Act.
Perfect. If everybody has the page up in front of them, I believe it's 230 in the package that outlines all of the dates. Any questions, Director Warren?
Yeah, through you. I was wondering if going forward with IT, whether we could have hybrid meetings if people are unable to attend in person, let's say in the summertime, that sort of thing.
So, Mark, I'll let you answer that, but I know that this came up in our first meeting, and I know that is a potential issue because currently the technology doesn't really lend itself to doing meetings. So, I have the impression, based on the previous conversations that we've had on this, that it's kind of an either or when it comes to either virtual meeting or in-person meeting. But by all means, Mark, please let us know more information.
Yep, sure, absolutely. So there's a little bit of background in terms of the hybrid meeting versus not, and our chair is right. In the past, it was difficult because we didn't have the technology really to support a hybrid meeting, and so what ended up happening was a member that was on a virtual platform. It wasn't a good experience for them. So we tended to work in a different fashion. We have, of course, this meeting, which is a kind of unique circumstance where everyone's virtually, so that works pretty well. But we've recently, as of actually just a couple of weeks ago, outfitted through our network analyst, our new guy, focused on IT technology, implemented a system that seems to work fairly well. I didn't want to implement it for an annual meeting, the very first meeting, but it certainly is something that we currently have that would enable a much better experience, we think, because we haven't actually practically tested it, but it should work for a hybrid type meeting. And within our bylaws, we do have an element that identifies that any member could participate virtually to a maximum of 3 meetings. Just recognizing that in person is the best way to have meetings, but recognizing as well that there might be sometimes during the year that you just need to connect remotely and not be able to achieve the in-person. So we're trying to strike a balance, and we have got some better technology as of just a couple weeks ago to enable that.
Thank you.
So based on that, Mark, what I'm hearing is it is a possibility, to Director Warren's question, that if there are some months, and maybe this is a solution, if there are some months where there are not necessarily a lot of line items, instead of packing that into the next one, it may be easier to do a hybrid or a virtual meeting to cover that off, to reduce the amount of transportation back and forth. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, I think so, and we like to make the most of everyone's time too. So if that's a shorter meeting, or whether it's a deferral of items, if they're not critical to the operations, and being able to cancel a meeting, whatever, we're flexible in that.
And I see the qualifier on the December 21st meeting. It's tentative, just in case there's critical business. So I would presume that is a date that we don't often use. And if we do use it, I'm assuming that we would also be given drinks and.
Yes, I agree. Yes, we would try and treat you well, because we actually just try and avoid that entirely, because we know it's pretty close to Christmas at that point, and want to make sure everyone's enjoying time with their families, as opposed to being in a board meeting. So.
Perfect. All right. I do have a quick question. I do see that there are notes for other events. Clearly, Roma's on there, which has passed, but the Good Roads and AMO is coming up. Can I just ask, you had included them in there Was there a particular reason for their inclusion? As in, there'll be representation from the Conservation Authority at those events, or those were just of note of other things happening?
Yes, those were just of note of other things happening, so we didn't overlay our board meetings on top of those events that are pretty important for municipalities.
Excellent. Okay, I just wanted to ask that question. Everyone can see that Melanie, I believe, has put up the dates for a quick review. If you have not had a chance to quickly look at the schedule, if you can, what I will do is I will call for a mover and a seconder, and unfortunately, because that is on the screen, I can only see two of you. So thank you very much, Melanie. Director Warren is moving and Director Wright is seconding that. Can I get a vote on that? That is carried. Okay. Great. So that wraps up the agenda. I know we have new business. I will ask you a question before we move into the new business. I don't know if all councils are the same, but I know with our council, if it is an item of new business, that we do need a 2/3 vote to get the item on the floor. And I apologize for not necessarily knowing bylaws for the Kawartha Conservation. Do we need a 2/3 vote to get a piece of new business on the floor? If someone can help.
Yeah, traditionally we haven't needed a 2/3 motion to do that. We let the member put forward a whatever it is that they want to discuss, and then vote on it.
Perfect. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Okay, Director Pettengill, you wanted to bring some new business forward.
Yes, thank you very much. And through you, recommendation that KLCA staff look into an appropriate per diem for directors. I think that covers it.
Okay. Is that Mark, is that enough direction within that motion for staff to approach that, or did we need to put a little bit more specific direction to that?
I think that that works out well, and if we wanted to, we could include something along the lines of and explore opportunities for inclusion into the 2023 budget, if that helps round it out.
Oh yeah, I would have included that too. I mean, I was going to come forward with a recommendation, but I think it's I definitely with the idea that it would be implemented, from the beginning of this term when this board started.
Okay, so we do have this motion on board. I need I'm assuming that you're doing that. Can I get a seconder to this motion, please? Is anybody seconding the motion? Okay, Director Franzen is seconding that motion. Are there any questions, debates? Director Warren?
Yeah, thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. So I guess it's a question to Mark. So the City of Kawartha Lakes does not allow that to happen, period. So I guess that's the overarching resolution from the city. So if this went forward down the line, then the director's stipend would go to the foundation.
Yes, we would look at a couple of options for being able to implement. So what we do is there's probably two options, either, and this is where we'd have to explore it a little bit, but either donating it to foundation or some other way of doing that, and the other option would be that it only be applied to municipalities that wouldn't have the same kind of bylaw. So.
My other concern is, with all the changes that we don't know really what's going to move forward, I'm just worried about the bottom line. And, it's 15,000 here, 15,000 with reporting on natural hazards or whatever. I guess we can't really vote on it from Kawartha Lakes point of view going forward. I guess we could to allow it for other municipalities, but.
I do have another question too, and I think it's something you mentioned earlier, Mark, and that is there an option for people to opt in or opt out? I mean, some people may choose not to receive a per diem, and others may choose to receive it.
Yes, and I think that's that would be part of our report, just to work through some of those details and make sure it's if it was to be implemented, what's a fair kind of rate to work with, and what's the best way from a governance standpoint to implement as well, respecting all the different municipalities that are in the mix. So,
okay, great. Director Smeaton, I know you had your hand up. Did you still have a question?
It's been answered since things have come up. I will just say really quickly that I admire Kriya for bringing it up. I happen to not agree, but often councillors won't speak to something such as this because they fear it's going to look a certain way. I'm asking for a pay increase, and I admire that because, and I'm not just saying I admire Kriya, because it will facilitate other conversations down the road that are needed. We have to be able to speak what we're feeling, right? And that's more than fair. So I admire for bringing it up. It probably wasn't easy. I also happen to live around the corner from the conservation area, so for me, this is really, it's not really a big issue. So
great, Director Richardson.
Sorry.
Yes, I'm just going to make a comment that I've sat on other conservation boards, and there is per diems in those boards. And the Kawartha Lakes, City of Kawartha Lakes has that resolution where we don't have that per diem. So it can work that way as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. Director Pettengill, did you have another comment?
I guess I just wanted to reiterate that, it is an honor and a privilege to sit on a Conservation Authority board, and this one, certainly an honor and privilege. But again, just reiterating, for some of us, it's a very modest amount, but it's still significant financially, given our maybe, in different municipalities, the salary for a councillor varies a lot. And I come from one where it's very low. So yeah, thank you for saying I'm brave. And I did feel brave to mention it, but it's the beginning of the term. And, I aim to bring everything to this, and modest compensation just really feels right to me. Thank you.
Okay, are there any other comments, or Director Franson?
Yeah, I just have one comment. If directors are bringing value to the Conservation Authority, just as being a member of council, you get compensated for it. It may not be the compensation that you probably deserve, but it's a minimal compensation. It just shows that there's some respect for the people that sit on this board.
Okay, great. Thank you for those comments. Yeah, absolutely. Even though it's a small amount, it is could be visually seen as an appreciation for the hard work that we'll all put in over the next 4 years. All right. Any other questions or comments on that? Okay, the motion has been tabled. Like, we have first and seconder, so I will ask for a vote on directing staff to come back with a recommendation. All right, and that is carried. Okay, so the new business will include for next meeting, staff coming back to us with recommendations on per diem, and probably, I would presume, how best to implement it, as well as kind of the current environment of what's happening across board in the other CAs. All right, any other new business that anybody would like to bring forward? Director Smeaton.
Speaking of brave, I'm going to ask the question that everybody will go, really? But I don't know the answer. So I'm a developer, let's pretend. And I decide with my development, I'm going to begin with phase 1 of 4 phases. And I move dirt that's been approved, Conservation Authority, for purposes of today's discussion, all the check boxes are ticked, including Conservation Authority. And one of the pieces of this puzzle, so I'm going to move dirt from my phase 1 to my phase 4, no problem. I start working in phase 1 and I find out there's a lot of bedrock that we thought there might have been a little, but it turns out there's a lot. So we're going to move the dirt back from the new location that we've moved our dirt we're going to bring that back. Sounds obvious that there's no issue there. Is there an issue there?
So I will start, and then Matt probably has some wisdom to provide on this one as well. From my perspective, there's not too much of an issue, but the permit would have to be updated. So that's the real kind of piece behind it. And I mean, theoretically, there might have been some soil work done that would have indicated that there would be a threshold, but again, I'm not sure if they're digging test pits or things of that nature to go down to the depths that they were looking for. But theoretically, there'd be a bit of that work, kind of work in advance that would have covered off some of that. But I'll let Matt kind of carry on from there.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, I'm agreeing with what you're saying. Definitely a permit would need to be updated. Also, methodologies would matter in that case of how you're transporting the materials. If you're going over water course, like just respecting what impacts you would be doing on our waterways and things like that. But ultimately, I don't see any game stoppers from anyone doing that.
Thanks. Sorry for the rookie question. Just, it was on my mind.
All questions are good.
Perfect. Any other new business or any updates from board members? Sorry, Director Forbes, you have your hand up. I just noticed that. Sorry, apologies.
Anine, everyone. It's been a great meeting so far here today. Sorry, my camera's off. We'll see you guys in person next. I am looking for support for the board to start lobbying the government that First Nations get a vote at conservation authorities, and so we have to start lobbying against the Conservation Act. So looking for support from our board, so MSIFN can go ahead and start doing that. Any comments or thoughts would be greatly appreciated. Big much.
So, Jeff, I'll ask the first question, and then Director Pengill, I'll pass that over to you. So, what you're, I guess I'll ask a clarifying question first, just to make sure I understand the request. So, you would like us to, the board entirely and the Conservation Authority itself, to advocate for someone like yourself to be able to vote on matters here on the board? Was that the ask? Sorry.
We are going to lobby.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking for the support of the board that they would like that. Essentially, we are the first board, right? And there's only 18 other conservation authorities that allow First Nation or Indigenous people to sit on the board without voting rights. So again, just looking for the board to get their okay to go ahead.
And if you want, Mr. Chair, I can provide a little bit more context if that helps. It was about, it might have been 3-4 years ago. There was a request put forward by the chair of the MSIFN, Mississaugas, the Scugog Island First Nation, to sit on our board. Our board considered it and thought it was a great idea to have a First Nation representative on our board. And that is through Jeff Forbes that you see here. He's a counselor with the band council. And so we saw it as a great opportunity to give First Nations a voice on our board. Technically, it's not allowed through the Conservation Authorities Act in a very explicit way, different from all of your member appointments, and different from the agricultural representative, which is recognized by the province and is a unique sector-based appointment that the ministry can provide to a conservation authority. The appointment is made at the provincial level. It's not made locally. So it's a unique kind of perspective that we have in our act. And I think so the way in which Jeff is able to represent MSIFN was through our bylaws. They were amended to invite a non-voting member of the MSIFN to this board. And so I believe what Jeff's asking for is board's support then to approach the province and suggest probably that in the legislation, First Nations should be recognized in a similar fashion to maybe the agricultural member. And I would note that the agriculture member appointed by the province does have voting rights on everything. Except for amalgamation, dissolution, and enlargement of boundaries and budgetary issues. Other than that, they're a full member. So I think Jeff's probably looking for a support to support their initiative, is what it's sounding like, to receive some equal kind of treatment, or at least on par. If that helps at all, and if I've captured that right, Jeff.
Yes, miigwech.
Okay, great. So Director Warren.
So I guess we would need to have a resolution to support our director. So I don't really have the words at this point, but I would make that motion that we reach out to the province and to request that First Nations has the same rights as the agricultural member on our conservation board.
So if you don't mind a slight friendly amendment on the wording there, I would say that we would the board resolves to direct staff to approach the provincial government to change the status of Indigenous members within conservation authorities to be that similar to agricultural.
That's great. Thank you.
Is that fair? Is that sort of
sure? Yeah. So it's not just our board, but throughout Ontario.
Perfect. And Jeff, that motion that covers what you're hoping for.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, again, it wasn't, apologize, it wasn't just looking for your support, as we will do the lobbying. We already have letters ready to go and potential meetings set up. So I didn't want it to catch the board off guard.
Perfect.
And we are, it's important for Indigenous people to have a word at this table. So with everything going on with the different bills, then we need to have a voice. So
excellent. And Director Forbes, I'm sure I speak on behalf of all of us on the board, is by all means, please have a voice and speak up as however you want. The only change to that will be your ability to vote. But we both welcome and encourage your voice to be shared and for us to hear what you would like to share on this board. So by all means, there should be no impediment to your voice being heard. We just want to amend your clearly what you're asking for us is to support your ability to vote on whatever is moving forward, which I think we'll vote on in a second, but I don't know that there's a problem with that. Director Franzen, before you ask the question, can I ask, will you second the motion started by Director Warren?
Yes, I would.
Perfect. And
I have a comment.
Sure, absolutely.
Possibly Jeff Forbes should be writing to member municipalities and asking for support.
That is completely fair. So if we put a statement, if staff can put a statement together, I would presume that all of us as representatives within our municipality can ask for the municipality to share that correspondence with the appropriate parties as well. I see your hand up, Director Pettengill, but Director Byrne, you had your hand up first, so I'll go to you.
Through you, Chair. Just to be clear, the wording for lobbying against the Conservation Act, was that for that one item, or is there a larger directive in there as well?
Just the one.
Yeah, just I believe it's just for to extend the ability to vote if
Yeah.
I get what I'm hearing from Jeff appropriately.
Correct.
Perfect. Thank you, Jeff. Director Pentangale.
Yes, thanks. Sorry, earlier when I had my hand up, I was just looking for clarification on how we can show our support, and I see now through a motion being written that would come to fruition. Just the detail. So the First Nations of the Mississaugas of Scugog are a governing authority, just like municipalities are a governing authority. It's a federal legislation, so I'm not sure if having the same status as the agricultural member is appropriate. You know, if there should be any limitations on what can be voted for or not by Jeff on this board. So I guess that's something that Jeff, you already have a position on. But I mean, you do represent a governing authority, not an agricultural interest. So to me, it wouldn't be necessarily the same as, it would be.
It's the same as, not. Sorry.
Yeah, but without the limitations. Yeah, the same as, they're invited in addition to the municipality, but they do represent a governing authority in the watershed of Kawartha Lakes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then just further, if I might, Mr. Chair. Just further to Director Burns' question is currently First Nations are not identified within the Conservation Authorities Act. So this would represent a change, because that would be the mechanism by which all 36 CAs would have an opportunity to invite a member or have a member appointed to their boards. So and then the voting aspect would be defined within the Act as well. So one of the things that we would include in a letter to the ministry then as staff would be an explanation of kind of their perspective on this as well. We have included this comment before in some of our ERO postings that we request the ministry to consider First Nations in the review of the Act, and they did add an element that was well, in the very beginning of the Act, that nothing in the Act really prevents First Nations, the perspective of treaty lands being important, but it doesn't appoint First Nations or really identify First Nations in any other way. So, so if there's some logistical issues on their end, that might help understand why they haven't gone further. But I think that might be kind of important to understand as well, and perhaps even result in a presentation if the ministry staff are able to travel or at least join remotely to be able to explain some of their perspectives, and maybe that helps shed light on everything too.
Okay, so for the piece of new business on directing staff to create a letter of support for Indigenous First Nations communities to be able to extended voting. We do have a mover and a seconder, so can I have a vote on that, please? Okay, and that is carried. So staff, Mark, hopefully staff will be able to pull that together for us to review. I mean, I know for myself, I would love to make sure that I receive a copy of that, so we can mimic the same language in something from Scugog as well in support of this change to legislation.
Mm-hmm. Yep, great. Yeah, will do.
Okay, so are there any other items prior to moving to adjournment? Okay, seeing none, can I have a mover and a seconder for adjournment to the meeting? I see Director Richardson is moving that. Can I get a seconder for that? Director Byrne, thank you. All right, and a vote, please. All right, seems as though people want to get on with their day. So we are officially adjourned. So thank you very much. It was a great first meeting. I'm sure it will get smoother as it goes along. So thank you everybody for the efforts in this first meeting. And hopefully next time we'll be able to all see each other in person. Right. Thank you for joining. Have a great day, everyone. Mark, did you want to stay on just briefly
Yep,
after
sure.
the live stream?